Hello and welcome back to Gubb Farm. My name's Darren McGovern. If you're interested in following the highs and lows of establishing an organic hazelnut farm and all the challenges that come with it, the machine choices, you're in the right place. So hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. Today I'm going to talk about the story so far, the reason for planting hazelnuts. So recently I bought a farm. I have about 20 acres of land that I can plant. And I was left with the question, what do I do with that? How do I make some sort of a meaningful income? If you look at livestock, the problem you have there is there's farmers with hundreds of acres that are struggling to make money of livestock, so I have no chance with 20 acres. Plus I have a day job, and so there's a lot of time involved in looking after the livestock. I looked at different vegetables and plants and whatnot, and it's finding that right balance between income and time. In the end, I walked around the hedgerows, and in all of the hedgerows you could see hazelnuts growing, not only growing but they're thriving with very large yields on them. So I did a bit of research into that, because obviously the trees grow well, or at least the native species grow well here, and I can expect from a tree to yield about 4 kilos of whole nut, so that's about 2 kilos of deshelled. So I should be able to plant about 2,000 trees, so that's about 4,000 kilos of potential yield, and maybe more on a good year, and maybe less on a bad year. So then you're left with the choice of, well, how are you going to grow them? How are you going to bring it to market? So the choices are there. You can go down the route of spraying, and the benefits of spraying is that it removes a lot of labour from keeping the weeds suppressed. But there's a lot of questions over the health impact and the impact to the environment. So I wasn't very comfortable with that. And the second thing is the income as well. So if you have non-organic nuts, at the moment the prices are maybe £7 to £10 a kilo to the end consumer, whereas organic nuts are maybe closer to £20 to the end consumer. So it fitted well with me, just from a sense of righteousness, to go down the route of producing an organic crop. And even though it will require a lot more time than a non-organic crop, there should be the potential to maximise the yield from the ground I have. So to date, I've planted 450 trees. Basically, that's as much as I could get last year. I planted them in February of this year. I planted 3 varieties. We have Weber's, and they're planted in rows with pollinators distributed. So we have Weber's and we have Nottinghams in the next row, and I'm waiting for Cosfords to fill the gap on either side of me. Every tree is no more than roughly 2 trees from a pollinator. So with hazelnuts, you have to get a mix of varieties to ensure pollination, because it happens at different times of the year. And again, I suppose that's something we'll go into later in another video. So to get that pollination, which in turn gives you the yield of nuts, you want to have the crops mixed. So in this row, every 6th tree is a pollinator, and that's staggered. So you will have 2 or 3 trees, a pollinator on the opposite row, and then again every 6th tree. So the land that I bought, it came with a dwelling house that we're living in and renovating. We'll give you a tour of that in due course. It also came with a shed, so I'll take a walk up there and give you a little look around there. So in the background is a shed that I plan to use for the production of the nuts. We will have the ability to chill the nuts, reduce the humidity, de-shell them, packaging, etc. Whatever processing goes with them. So we planted the trees in February, earlier this year, now the start of August. And about that height, just above the top of the spiral guards. So they appear to be taking very well to the ground, which hopefully ties in with all of the growth we've seen around here. So the next planting, we will be planting a further 1,500 in February of 2021. And so what I'll be covering in the coming videos is the preparation for that, the soil preparation, through to the planting of that over the coming months. which leads me to a number of things that I have to do. I have to buy a tractor, so I'm going to talk about the choices that I have and my decision making process there. I need to firm up in my head how I'm going to do the weed suppression. Will I just go for manual weeding? Will I try to mulch? And I have some wood from facing off hedges or cleaning up hedges here when I got this field, and I'm debating, do I run that through a wood chipper and maybe do some trials. So these are all things we're going to explore. Now if you are into your organic farming, I would love to hear your viewpoint on weed suppression. I've done a lot of research into this, and there's many different ways you can go, but there appears to be a cost to everything. If you do weed suppression through mulching, you can start to impact the quality of the soil, especially it depends on how much gases can be released. But then there's a balancing act of the amount of time it takes to keep the keep the trees weeded. But the flip side of the coin is there is some research suggesting that it's actually okay to have some weed, but keep cutting them back or keep knocking them back, and that helps keep the soil healthy, keeps all the microbes in the soil, and just creates a good happy place for the trees to grow. So again, a lot of research required here. Love to hear your viewpoints on weed suppression. So look, if you're interested in following this journey, click on the subscribe button, hit the like button, and there's a little bell. You can hit that as well, and that'll give you a notification of every time I put up a video. So thank you for your time. Good night.